It's a great question. I have a really interesting perspective, I think, right now. I started in, I think the late 90s in Expedite, and I had come from banking. So I didn't know much about it, but I learned quickly. And at the time, we were with a company called Express One. It was very small. We had about 60 trucks. And we grew and we grew and we grew. And it was a family-based oriented company, tremendous company. And as we grew, then eventually the business was sold. It became what's known today as Expo. And got out. So when you get out, you generally sign non-compete. That was about 5 years. So I was out for 5 years and just came back about 3 months ago. So what's unique to me, it's kind of like being Michael J. Fox in the movie Back to the Future. So I was out 5 years, and I was out. I went back to banking, didn't even think about the industry, didn't think I'd get back in, and then all of a sudden, I got the itch. And when I got the itch, I came back with some guys that I really respect, guys that I work really well with, Mike Welch, Jim Welch, and other members of our old family at Express One. And so we're back at it. But I'm making these observations now on things that have occurred over that last 5-year period. And it's amazing to me. Some things haven't changed a bit, and that's incredible to me. Other things have changed immensely. I'd like to think that I worked with Expediter Services in their infancy. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I did. And I'm looking at the growth of Expediter Services since I came back into the business. It's phenomenal. Back in the day, you used to be able to recruit Joe and his straight truck, and you would sign him, lease him onto your company, and it worked. And then 2008, 2009 hit. And I'm an ex-banker, as I said earlier. That hit hard, and it hit the straight truck owner-operator very hard. And then what I've seen, and I started to see before I left, is it's very difficult to find the individual that could go out and finance his truck and get in the industry. So then you saw companies like Expediter Services come into play and provide those valuable connections for those owner-operators that wanted to get in but just couldn't go to the neighborhood bank and do it themselves. They just couldn't because the bank stopped lending the money. And I was one of the bankers that stopped doing that. And so I felt for them. Now I get back and I see the growth of Expediter Services. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, they are the preeminent supplier of DOT straight truck capacity in the industry. But what I like is they're also providing, when the owner-operator chooses, to use what I would call business acumen training, business services capabilities, and services and processes that really help the owner-operator be effective owners on their own. They are still self-employed owner-operators running their own businesses with incredible support behind them with Expediter Services and the carriers that Expediter Services works with, much like Premium Transportation, who I'm now with. We're one of the carriers that is working with Expediter Services. So what I'm seeing then are these drivers that in many cases need guidance, need help, not only with vendors, just with expertise in the industry, mentors that have been there and done that, help guide them through the ups and the downs, because believe me, it's a roller coaster. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but it's the body of the work at the end of the month, it's the body of the work at the end of the year that counts. And in Expedite, the body of the work's impressive, but if you base your success on a given day, on a particular run, or a particular week, you're going to drive yourself crazy. And you might drive yourself right out of the business, which would be a shame, because it's really a wonderful business to be in. I'm here at the show at the Expedite Expo, and I'm next to the Expediter Services booth here with Premium Transportation, just speaking with a gentleman who said, you know, my guys run truckload. They run dedicated. They're bored. I can't keep them. I said, well, help me understand that. Why are they bored? He said, they have ruts in the road. They're seeing the same scenery day in and day out. They're bored. He goes, what they have on their truck is not important. They don't need to be loaded very quickly. They don't need to be unloaded very quickly because what they're hauling is not that important to the shipper or the consignee. With Expedite, what you're putting on that truck is important. That shipper wants to get it going because they want to meet their customers' expectations. And that consignee wants to get it off that truck, because if he doesn't, that line's going to shut down or that customer's expectations is not going to be met. So what I think is cool for the driver is that he's hauling something where he may actually get a standing ovation when he delivers. And it's, generally speaking, it is light freight. They're putting it on a decent sized DOT, Class B truck, maybe Class A. It's pretty light though, because you're not going to stuff a truck with emergency freight. You're going to just put what you need to get off the dock and get it to its destination. So, that's a long answer for some of the things that I've seen change. There's obviously new people that enter the business, and there are some new players in the business, and then there's some of the solid folks that have been around a while that I still see.